Hi, my name is Jeremy Galindo, and this is for my final exam. My speech that I felt was the strongest was my story speech. I feel like it was strong because, for one, I had a good attention grabber. Right off the bat, I grabbed the audience's attention, and two, I felt like it was a strong central idea topic, which was Houston traffic. I felt like I targeted the audience very well because I knew that they could relate to Houston traffic. They related to the topic, so it kept their attention because they want to hear about it. They know what it's like because I knew that we were all Houston drivers. And I felt like that being a strong central subject, I was able to build on three main points very easily. So my speech had good flow. Like I didn't veer off a path or anything. The three main points that I chose were good points to use to tell the story of comparing and contrasting how I stayed in College Station versus Houston, and then the actual statistics behind Houston, which came from a credible source of ABC 13. And then the fact to make the speech a story was my own experiences. I think another strong speech uh, was Garrett Pena's persuasive speech on legalizing gambling in Texas. This was a strong speech because of his performance delivery. I felt like even though it might have been a nervous reaction, but his repetitive talking really emphasized his repetitive word usage really emphasized his delivery. It his repetitive word usage and his clarity give a good delivery performance. If he had ums in between his repetitive word usage, or if he sort of choked, then that would have not given him an upside. Or maybe he actually did want to use repetitive, made it want it that way. So I felt like that was very effective, and that keeps your attention. And the fact that his tone of voice and clarity keeps the audience attention as well. And you can clearly see that he's keeping eye contact with his audience because the camera is behind all of the audience. The camera person is not holding it to where you just view him. So he had a lot of good upside to how his performance was and how his speech was produced. The organizational pattern I used for my story speech was topic orders. I highlighted the main three topics that I felt were the most effective, which were my experiences, and I feel like comparing and contrasting has a strong effect on a topic, and I feel like if you want to make the topic even stronger, then bringing in credentials about it is good. Although bringing in statistics, you could possibly bore your audience, so you don't want to lean heavily into your statistics. You want to maintain the fact that it's a story speech, so that's how I developed my comparing and contrasting was a story of how I lived in College Station and my experiences of road rage and how I felt towards GPSs was it was a story about me. It wasn't just statistics, or it wasn't just useless information. That helped me maintain the audience's attention. The method of informing I used for my informative speeches was explaining to the audience the technical topics that I chose. I feel like I knew that the audience had no idea what I was talking about. The audience was not familiar compared to my Houston traffic. So I really had to explain each part of the speech that I was talking about. The specific technique I used to do this was using visual pictures, so they could put a picture in their mind of what I was describing them, and you have to be very clear about what you are saying, because if you scramble up your words, then their mind it's just going to veer off and you're going to lose your audience. So the further detail you go into, you have to go step by step. And that's how I carried out my two informative speeches, since they were both technical about medical manufacturing and what is an autoclave. For how I organized my persuasive speeches, I used an attention grabber right off the bat to grab the audience's attention, which is the first step in Monroe's motivated sequence pattern. I feel like the attention grabber is one of the most important parts of your speech because it's like a first impression on a date or like a first impression on an interview. Your attention grabber is the first thing that someone's going to see and hear in your speech. So that first step in Monroe's motivational pattern is very key. Right after your attention grabber, you have to put the thought in the audience's mind that this is what you're talking about. You got to put your need statement, your thesis statement. You have to unload exactly all your topics are going to cover. You have to put it in that right after that attention grabber, because right after the attention grabber, you have 100% of their attention. And I mean, humans are already built to where they're not going to pay attention for so long, maybe like 30 minutes. And that's for something real. Like, this is just an audience speech where, you really have to try. So that second step is also very critical as well. Right after your need statement, you have to show your audience that this is a serious problem, and you got to make sure and clear to the audience that there is satisfaction. Satisfaction, which is the third step, is the way you relate this is by showing the upsides of what your topic is. So as for gambling is not a bad hobby, the upside is you can profit from this hobby. You can't profit from most hobbies. I mean, you can, I guess, in sentimental profit. This is actually money profit. So I tried to use a visual of a penny machine to show that visual to show that slot machines, that you got to be knowledgeable in gambling, and you have to know that penny machines are the way to go. And this is how you visualize a clear thought or clear image to someone that doesn't believe in gambling. You implement it through a picture and describing it, and that's how you can very effectively change their thought process. And that's how as you progress through these steps, your persuasiveness really gets to the audience by using visualization and satisfaction. And then by finishing it off, which is using action. So you use action or interaction with your audience to really seal the deal. And those are the 5 steps, which are very key, and that is how you have a successful persuasive speech. Additional techniques that I use were eye contact, hand gestures. I tried to use hand gestures as much as I could, and really not exactly in your performance, but in your presentation organization is key as well to having a good speech. I definitely could have projected my voice more clear. I tend to talk out of the side of my mouth. That's one thing that I have trouble with. I tend to fidget sometimes, and my rate of my talk, the rate that I speak at, changes, so that also doesn't help. My professional goals for the future are to begin my career in manufacturing and graduate from Texas A&M. I want to satisfy a long-lasting relationship so I can go from entry level to project management and have a great, successful career. This class helped me out because my next semester will be my senior design course, and I would definitely be giving technical speeches in that course, so I learned a lot. And it's going to really make me effective because I'll have a better attention grabber. Not only will the reason this course is crucial is because not only does it help you in school, it'll also help you in your career. So, thank you.